I've got to tell you, this team is a joy to watch. I don't mean in sort of Barcelona, Brazil, ticky-tacky, tic-tac, whatever it's called, right? I don't mean like that. But I just mean in terms of watching the evolution of your own team as a fan. In a game, I'm talking obviously, in case you're watching this in 2 weeks' time, I'm talking about the 3-0 win against Sheffield United, of course. There was just so much to say, particularly about Lingard and Bowen in the video that I published earlier on today. I thought it sort of deserved a second one. I did want to speak about Ben Jonson a bit as well. But the team is an absolute joy to watch. I think even when we're defending, I think it's making me appreciate a few of the darker arts, if you like. I don't mind if we sit back and we soak up a bit of pressure. There were a couple of points where Issa Diop got himself between the man and the ball and made sure he was fouled to stop a counter. Look, it ain't Lionel Messi jinking past 4 or 5 players in terms of being a joy to watch. But actually, you know what? I looked at it as my team. I'm good on you, Issa. Good on you. Particularly when you take into the context that Angelo Ogbonna was out the team. A lot of pressure on Issa Diop there to do well. And particularly, I've got to be honest with you, he did start that game a little bit like the rabbit in the headlights. Maybe you agree, maybe you don't, but I thought there was a lack of technique. I thought he looked a little bit clumsy, a bit Bambi on ice. But he started that a bit shaky, that game, Diop, but finished it really, really strong. And I love seeing that. And also, when we went in at half time and it was 1-0, and then we came out, and second half, it's quite vivid in my mind. Second half, Fabianski makes an absolutely brilliant save. We score a goal, good corner. Diop scores the goal with a header. Then, in the previous video, that Jesse Lingard managed to get the whole team down the pitch by getting the ball. We were defending, he won the ball, and somehow he dribbled all the way down the pitch and got a corner for us, which enabled Moyes to move the whole team up the pitch and just get rid of the pressure like that. It was a really interesting sort of 15, 20 minutes of the game to behold, because I just thought, well, this is great. You know, we'd gone 2-0 up by that point. We seemed perfectly in control, but it's a funny sort of control. It's not the sort of control where the opposition are not able to attack you. But you're looking at this defence, and you're looking at Declan Rice and Thomas Souček, neither of whom had brilliant games, penalty aside from Declan Rice, but you just thought, you're not going to get past this. You ain't scoring 2 goals against us. You might get a sneaky one. It might happen. But by and large, you're not. And when a defence is playing that well, it's sensational. I mean, your goalkeepers, it's all part of it. There's no shame on the goalkeeper playing well. He's part of your defence. That's fine. Well, do you know what? He's going to have to play well. We're missing our top defender, Angelo Ogbonna. But I tell you what, Dawson's come in. I said this to Gio in the player ratings video. There's a stat which is they used to say it about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer or Chicharito. You hear it a lot, don't you? Which is goals per minutes on the pitch, right? Now, I don't know what Craig Dawson's is, but if there's a stat for clean sheets, goals conceded per minutes on the pitch, I reckon Dawson's up there. I mean, with anyone, any defender at West Ham that's played sort of more than 10 games, seriously. Look, I've been following West Ham a long, long time. Hopefully you watched the Upton Park video. I know got some lovely comments on that, by the way, which was really appreciated that, and I'm glad so many of you enjoyed it. But if you remember in that video, I mentioned my first game, which is 1983. So clearly I've been following West Ham a long time. I've only really felt like I have now, not many occasions, 3, 4, 5 occasions, if that. Maybe we'll appraise David Moyes as the season goes on, but I can't think of too many times this has been that I felt this way about the team, certainly. And you know what, you got to enjoy that. And because I'm not thinking of too many times our defence has been this good. Well, there have been managers that have come in and suggested they'd make a good defence. I will give you the example of Kirbishley, and I'll give you the example of Allardyce, but they didn't make a defence like David Moyes has. They just didn't. So I don't know, what is he pro rata? Pro rata, what is Craig Dawson? I reckon he's up there with our best defenders in terms of mean stinginess. I'm not saying he's Bobby Moore, all right? But before anybody misquotes me on that, I'm not saying he's the best defender we've ever had. I'm saying if you look at it statistically, minutes on the pitch, I don't think you can see, but I think his stats will be comparable in terms of the miserly nature of the defence. Right, talking about the defence, Ben Jonson here. Ben Jonson, I'm absolutely thrilled with, because he's been at West Ham since he was 7. He's a West Ham fan. And there's been a few false dawns with Jonson. First of all, got his debut under Pellegrini at left back, as I remember, against Man City. I think possibly his next game was against Man City. I may be wrong here. Maybe his third game was against Liverpool. He's had a bit of a baptism of fire, and I think he had quite large gaps between each game. I believe it was Brighton this season where David Moyes had... where he played, I thought he was man of the match anyway, and he scored the goal for us, didn't he, in that game? And David Moyes dropped him for the next game. I want to go back a little bit further than that, if I may, with Ben Jonson, because Ben Jonson is not a superstar player. He's not a razzmatazz player. There's a lot of fuss when players come through the academy. I'll give you the example, the more recent one, of Declan Rice. Declan Rice is a massive success story of the West Ham Academy, but not everybody has to be a superstar. Actually, some people come through the academy and they can be squad players and they can be reliable. And that is still a good product from the academy. And what I say, I want to go back to Zabaleta being injured. I want to go back to Ryan Fredericks being injured. And at that point, when Jonson would have been given his chance, he was injured as well. So Ngakia gets the chance. And I think, again, it probably takes quite a bit of mental fortitude to not be so disappointed with that you get your head down. But he came back, he managed to get a couple of appearances, and he keeps battling on. And I'm reminded of an interview with him where he said, it's okay, I know I will get my chance. There's one thing I've learned being at West Ham all these years, I will get my chance. And now I look at him, and that is the fact that David Moyes, he's featured, I don't know how many times, 3, 4, 5 times this season, something like that. But David Moyes brought him on when everything, we were basically getting the West Ham injury apocalypse against Manchester United. And David Moyes, he who doth not like substitutes, had made 6 of them, was trying to shuffle his pack. He changed formation and he moved Jonson to left wing back. And I thought we looked better for it as well against Man U. Okay, alas, it didn't work out. It didn't work out as we'd have hoped. However, you now get to this game and David Moyes is thinking, because of all the injuries and Ogbonna being out and having to move Cresswell to left centre back and so on and so forth, he's now going to put Jonson at left wing back. I tell you what struck me. As I say, not any massive sprinkling of stardust or any razzmatazz that you might have got with Declan Rice, or the fact that we're looking at a player coming through might be worth 80 million. No, that's not what I'm looking at with Ben Jonson. I'm looking at a squad player that West Ham could be very, very reliable for West Ham in 2 or 3 positions for quite a few years. And what I did think was, as I was watching him play, I thought, I bet David Moyes trusts him. I just bet he trusts him. I bet in training that when they're doing the drills for the set pieces, and David Moyes and the coaches, you know, they got a pad, didn't they? They got a pad there. So they got a pad, you know, what he's doing and pointing where to go and all the rest of it. I bet wherever he's told to go and stand, I bet he just stands there. But when they go through these scenarios, when the opposition player is there, you have to be there. I bet he just does it. Every single time. To such an extent, I bet David Moyes looks at him and thinks, well, I don't have to worry about you. Would he prefer Masuaku there? I think he might. But Masuaku is a vastly more experienced player and a very different player. But does he look at Ben Jonson and think, I trust him? You know what? I think he does. I think the more he plays, the better he gets, clearly. I mean, I state the obvious there. But I think if we stay with this formation for a little while, which we may do, I think if he can play 4 or 5 games in a row, you're going to see a real improvement in him because he's going to get more confident. there was a point in the second half, I think he might have played in, it might have been Lingard that he played in. But he'd sort of won the ball and he'd travelled slightly infield. Wasn't quite wide left, but he would be more where the left midfielder might stand. And there was a ball to be played. And it was probably 20-yard ball on the floor, curling ball. Sort of bit of a defence splitting pass. I think it was Lingard. But whoever it was on that left, he released them. It was a bloody good ball. But it was a ball of confidence. It was a ball of confidence that you're just not going to play if you're playing within yourself. And I think you only get to do those things when you feel secure about your place in the team, when you feel secure about your place in the squad. And I certainly feel that he probably senses that he is part of the squad, that he's part of things. And I guess this all comes as part of having a smaller squad, which I think is what David Moyes wanted to do. I think David Moyes has been at pains to get rid of some of these players like Haller and Felipe Anderson and people like that who he doesn't feel are going to be featuring in the squad. So if he has to mix things around a bit and wait for a player that he really wants that's really going to feature, then so be it. And I think you probably saw that with the last goal when Ryan Fredericks scored. And, you know, look, Ryan Fredericks might not be the first choice right back. He might be a bit part player. He might start in the odd game like he did against Aston Villa. He might start in the cup games. Alas, not anymore. He won't, not this season anyway. Or he might just come on as a substitute. But he is part of things. When he did, and he's part of the squad. And it's all part of that sort of cohesive unit of having a group of personalities that all get on, a group of players that all know their job and all operate within the parameters of something that they're comfortable with. With Jonson, I just thought I was so pleased for him. As I say, nothing overly swashbuckling, nothing outstanding, but he gets down there, he marks up. I thought he played well. He puts his crosses in. He's a decent player, and I think he's only going to get better.